It's been a great season three so far of Kung Fu. We just saw the mid-season finale, which was amazing for this third season. We got to wait till February though, which is kind of a bummer. But Zhilan is back, and big things are happening for her. Especially, I can't wait to talk to Yvonne Chapman about this. Yvonne, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
So I got to ask you though, because you've been on quite a ride since like the very beginning, since season one, since the very first episode of season one on Kung Fu. So you look back on the end of season two, which was fantastic, when Zhilan sacrifices herself to take down Russell Tan. Did you kind of think that might be the end for you, or did you know it wasn't?
I was very fortunate that right before the episode came into our email inboxes, that the showrunners Bob and Christina gave me a call. They're like, just so you know, it's gonna read that she's dead, but she's not. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So I had the heads up that there was something else in the works for her, but thankfully we did have a season three, and if we didn't, I was really grateful that there would be like a nice way out for her. But no, this season three has been really wonderful. I'm glad she gets another crack at it.
It's interesting because that was kind of like her redemption moment right there. But now you're in full on redemption mode with this arc that you're on right now. So going from Nikki's biggest rival to kind of fighting side by side with her, that's really interesting. So did you kind of feel like that was a natural transition, or was it a bit strange at first?
I think it felt natural over the course of three seasons, but I would say that it was season two that really solidified it because season one, I had no idea that I would be coming back or not. She really was written as that season's big villain, and to be continue on her story was such a pleasure. So yeah, I think in a way there's been comments in season three from crew like, did you ever think that you'd be here in the Shen family household? And no, I wasn't sure that that was going to happen at all in season one. But now it's starting to feel like it makes more sense.
She showed up at the door with that bottle of wine, and I'm like, what? That's just that. Never thought I'd see that. So that was interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very cool moment. So what's also interesting though is that after what's been happening with Zhao and with Bo, Nikki's kind of gone a bit in the opposite direction now. So what's it kind of been like watching her take a little bit of a darker turn this season?
I think I don't want to speak for her, but from what I've gathered, it's been a lot of fun for Olivia. I think it's been a lot of fun for all of us to see that side of her. And again, it just speaks to more of the richness of what people are, that they're not just one thing, and not that she ever was, but it's nice to see that kind of boundary of her being pushed a bit.
And since like she's kind of like been there before, she's been on that darker side. Because you think she could be like kind of like the key to kind of bring Nikki back a little bit to where she was.
I think she has a role to play in that. I don't know if I would say that she's potentially the key, but I think because she understands and recognizes where exactly that Nikki's coming from, there's a sympathy there for her struggle and understanding that, hey, at least I'm there as a physical presence of a reminder that if you choose to go down that path, you can go down it in a very dark way. Um, which I don't think Nikki would. But having said that, I think it's a nice reminder as a physical presence for her to be like, this is kind of the red herring there.
Yeah, and I've been there, done that sort of relatability. I think that is going to be really key to the last few episodes of this third season. Speaking of Bo, though, what was your reaction to finding out that he was the harvester all this time? Because when I saw that, I was like, "Whoa, really? Wow!"
I know, what a twist, huh? But what I really loved about Bo's storyline is that they gave, similar to actually what Zhilan was in season one, is that you understood exactly why he did it. Xiao was almost a mother figure to him, and somebody who was his mentor and really groomed him from a very young age to believe in the things that he did. So it was understandable, even though he did some horrible things, he didn't do it knowingly. And I think that's what the key was to that.
One of my favorite fight scenes of the season, by the way, was the fight scene with you and with Nikki and with the harvester. That when you that confrontation in the woods, I thought that was a great scene. What was it like being a part of that and the choreography for that thing? Because you guys have got a great team with the choreography.
Oh my gosh, we really do have such a fantastic team. They are so mindful of where each character is in their particular journeys, and they always ask us on like what we need to incorporate for that to feel a lot more authentic in that journey process. So in that particular time, it was the first time that you get to see Jicky again, as people have been calling, Nikki and Jalon together.
I love
So
that.
yeah, me too. So it was a nice welcoming back of that dynamic.
So it seems like the last thing left in Zhilan's redemption is kind of see Pei Ling again. How frustrating is it for her that the reunion seems to get snatched away from her every time she gets just so close to it, and then it just gets yanked right out from under her?
Girl can't win, huh?
For real, though.
She needs a break. All she wanted was just a dinner with some wine, maybe some good family cooking, you know. It is incredibly frustrating. And so she's gone down this road of like she just cares about saving Pei Ling. And now that she finally has a semblance of a family back in Pei Ling and finding her way into the Shen family household as well, to have that uprooted from her so suddenly is so jarring that it kind of brings her back into that familiar mindset that we've seen Zhilan in seasons 1 and 2 of that single mindedness of like I have to save her, and that's what it's going to be about for her for the rest of the season.
Talking to Yvonne Chapman, who of course plays Zhiling on Kung Fu, which returns on February the 8th for the thrilling last few episodes of season 3. Now, Yvonne, so we know that Jin is running for office right now, which has been a very interesting story arc in itself. And he's been kind of reluctant to fight dirty a little bit. So it had me wondering, what do you think Zhilan would be like as a politician?
Oh my goodness, that'd be so interesting, wouldn't it?
I mean,
I
I would that's money I would spend to see. That to me would be very, very interesting.
I said this to our showrunner Christina when we're talking about Jalon's arc, and maybe this will lend to how she would behave in this situation. But when someone's just like trying to be good and morally right, and but for her, because she's always done things in a certain way, and it's been kind of like quicker and easier for her to kind of go down the other route, so to speak. I always likened it to kind of being like on a diet, like when you're trying to be good. And then there's this key word. I'm like, if you want her to go to that dark side, just say Doritos and we'll go there. That's all a director
That's
needs to
funny.
say. Just say Doritos. So like, I could just imagine her trying to be in office, and there's going to be moments of like, I just want to open the bag of Doritos. Let's just open that can of whatever.
Or
But
you'd be opening a can of something, Zhilan. That'd
yeah.
be for sure. Yeah, that would be her cheat meal. It'd be to take somebody down for being
Oh,
stupid.
totally. That'd be
That
fun, actually. I like that idea, James.
would be fun. That would be fun. I'd love to see that. So, is there anyone in the cast? You've got to work with so many people on the cast, and it is a wonderful cast. But is there anyone in the show you haven't gotten to work with a lot that you'd really like to have more scenes with at some point?
I haven't had a lot of scenes with Ty and with Kang, the mom and dad of it all, and they're so good. And it's only in this last season that I actually have gotten to be in the room with them on set a few times, and that's 3 years in the making. So hopefully, if we get another season, there might be a little bit more interaction there, but we'll have to see.
It's funny too because when she walks in the room, that was one of my first things that I thought was, how are they going to react to her being here? Like they're a welcoming family for sure, but their reaction to you being there was something I felt kind of snatched away from us as a viewers. Did you kind of feel that a little bit too in that in saying that? Did it kind of feel like, okay, here's our chance to see how the parents are going to react to who was like the big bad of season one going after their daughter? Now here she is with a bottle of wine saying, "Stop, what's for dinner?"
Yeah, that's true. Hey, yeah, I think it's a moment that got robbed from Jalon as well, to understand what that's like. Because in the moment leading up, she was really nervous. She was like fixing her hair. She's like, oh God, like what is this going to be like? And we never got to play that out because of the unfortunate circumstances around Pei Ling. So maybe in the future, we'll see.
Definitely meant something to her though, which was an interesting little tease for what we're going to be seeing in the rest of these episodes. Speaking of which, I feel like there's so many things to unpack still in the final episodes of this third season. So how would you describe, of course, no spoilers, how would you describe the rest of season 3?
It is going to, you're right. It is going to jam pack a lot of, I think, things that need to be resolved in certain dynamics of the characters. So, and you're also going to see characters in a way that you've never seen them before. So, that is also to come. I mean, the last episode was definitely a tease of that because we got to see Nikki in such a different light. And now you're going to see other characters in a different way too.
That'll be really, really interesting. Another thing, though, I'm really excited about for you and for us to see as well is Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which you're going to be a part of in live action, which I think everybody's really, really psyched about. I know you can't say much, but how excited are you to bring Kyoshi to life and live action because that I think that's going to be awesome.
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, I've only got to see snippets of it. And when I went on set, people take pictures of like the monitor for, continuity and things like that. It looks really, really cool. So I'm really stoked to see it myself because I've only gotten just a little snapshot of it, but from what I've seen, I think it's going to be really great. And I just really hope the fans like it. I know there's a big fandom around it and the expectations are high, but I really do think that the team behind it has tried to stay true to the original content and the source material. And I'm just really proud that I get to be a part of that. I mean, I love Kiyoshi. I read the books. She's amazing. Her backstory is so rich. And what a great character to play. So I'm just really fortunate to be a part of it.
Wait until you get into the conversation of is she the most powerful of all of them? Because eventually that conversation is going to be had because it's already been
Right?
had in the past. So wait till you're a part of that conversation. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
What I love about that character too is she has such an iconic look, though, and I think that that's one thing that really sets her apart too from some of the other characters. So, have you had that first reaction of, "Oh my gosh, this is how I look as this character"? Have you gotten that look yet? Have you gotten that shot yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because we went in for the hair, makeup, and wardrobe test before we started shooting because they really wanted to get it right. It's incredible. I don't recognize myself in it, which is actually quite a dream because it's, once you embody and put that all on, that's the other side of the equation to any character. And they really went all out for the details of this. So I'm just excited to see other people's reactions of it. Anyway, I don't think anybody is going to be disappointed in her look.
We are busting at the seams to find out what that's going to look like. We won't find out until sometime in 2023 yet, though. We don't have a release date yet, but Netflix say it's probably going to be sometime in 2023. But speaking of 2023, we'll get this a little bit earlier. February 8th, that's when Kung Fu Season 3 returns to the CW. Make sure you're watching it live, then again on the CW app as well, because we want a Season 4. So you got to watch as much as you can. Let them know, hey, we want Season 4 because we need to know what Zhilang's up to. Yvonne, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, James. It's so fun. Thank you.